I know I can't fight 100 men, but the first 2 motherfuckers that I catch, oh, they gonna be on a t-shirt. After the first 2 hit the dirt, the next wave gonna hesitate. And that's when I turn strategic. No more swinging wild. Now I'm doing math.
It is another Sunday, which means it's time for our weekly update. Let's just jump right into it. Let us get rid of that. We now have the chat open in another screen, so go ahead and ask your questions. I will kind of reserve those for the end of the video, but I can't actually see them. I got the Discord going on one device. I got the YouTube chat going on another, so we good. All right, let's jump into it. We have a couple of progress announcements, right? So first and foremost, we definitely have some new logos, right? Shout out to Tika. He's the guy that has been definitely helping us along. He came up with some of these, and I don't see the main one. So this is the one that I have kind of been prefacing on using. I call it the Charlie Murphy. So far out of all the logos he created, I like this one the best, and I don't want to open up the Discord because we have some things going on in that channel that is just for the graphic designer division. We do have divisions that are starting. We'll get back into the Explorer, but for right now, this is the logo. We have it in different sizes. That's the main one, but that's not to say that there were others that are not in highly contention, and we might wind up using some of these in other media. Let's actually not load up Photoshop. Let's load up. I think they have a built-in one, right? Windows has to. Yeah, they do. Okay. So this is the other logo. This is more of a bubblegum pop feel thing going on. And I think we're going to wind up using this in some of our social media outreach stuff and maybe in the documentation. I kind of like it as an alternative logo. I don't have a name for this one yet. This is basically the same thing, but with a darker red logo. I haven't really decided which one I like more. Like I like them both for various reasons. I haven't really made a determination. This one is like rustic and flat, and really I kind of like it a lot. The only thing I really gave the graphic design fellas was basically Crystal Pepsi, right? Because that's where I got the inspiration for the name for a lot of this stuff. So this was one of the designs that he did as well, which also led into just the logo of just the bee, which I like, but ultimately what I think I decided is the bee from the bubblegum pop kind of looking logo as our official call symbol going forward. So I'll have to integrate that with one of the versions of the application going forward, get some of these out and going. So that's the update with the logos and where we're at there. I'm very, very impressed with the man's work. Does great work. Shout out to Tika for that. We have updated the white paper, both on the main website here. We got an EPUB version and a PDF version. We all good there. See, this is the new logo. We got that going on. So you can kind of pick and choose, take whatever version you like. You like EPUB, we got EPUB. You got PDF, we got PDF. As well, you asked, we delivered. Although I do need to fix the PDF because some of the text looks really, really bad. This is a full breakdown and with, special consideration, yada, yada, start to finish, how you create a Smartnode. I'm not kidding when I say that this thing is very comprehensive. There may be spelling errors. That's why this isn't available yet on the Apple Bookstore, Amazon, and Draft to Digital, which is where we normally release as well as the site. It is extremely comprehensive, and because of that, I didn't do as much editing on it. But this goes through Oracle VPSs versus, kind of what everybody else in the industry does and the differences between them and how we treat them. We go over here and talk about some potential alternatives to Oracle if you don't want to deal with them. Some people do, some people don't, whatever. Vultr, this is the only affiliate link that we have. Any affiliate links go to help the project because I self-fund this. Right now, this project doesn't make any money. I don't even get the development fee because that's still being paid out to the old wallet, as I explained last week. Rack Nerd, they're my number 2 runner-up. Their main prices are kind of expensive, but they run deals all the time. Like, I think they have one right now that's like $40 for the year for like a 4-core or something. Like, it's crazy. But they have deals more so around the Christmas holiday season. Great choice. Ionis, they're a new one. I don't know a lot about them, but I've heard good things. I just haven't checked them out yet. And then Hertzer, you know, with the caveat of Marius had problems with them originally. He was kicked off the service. I was at one point kicked off the service. They've let me back in with the understanding that I can't use their VPSs to run anything related to cryptocurrency. Sorry. I know users use it to run wallets. I've already been kicked off once. I'm not doing it again, so I can't recommend them. But it just shows you pretty much everything. See, this is kind of the stuff. This looks better on the EPUB version than the PDF version. I need to change that, but effectively, we have a PDF, we have an EPUB. If you want a Smartnode installer, we're good there. It'll probably be a couple of weeks before I make a video on how to make a Smartnode, but this is the text guide, which I promised was coming today, and we have released it. Now, obviously, the elephant in the room, the fucking Explorer. This thing has taken way too much of my time. It is driven me insane. It is very temperamental, and if you make one minor change, you have to re-index everything, which really for me just means wiping the whole instance and starting over from scratch, because re-indexing is so resource intensive with MongoDB. Excuse me, that it's just not really worth it to re-index at this point. It would just be easier to start over from scratch, but that takes about 36 hours, mostly because in the 200,000 block to 300,000 block, there were some errors that really slows down the database. As you can see right here, this is where we're at. It's hit a little stall, which is known to happen, but basically once we're out of the slow range of the 200,000s, it'll pick back up, and you can see that this is into November 10th, 2023. It'll continue. Once we're there, we're going to get the base things working out. The master nodes might not work. The coin supply might not work. The price definitely isn't going to work. We don't have an exchange that deals with us yet. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that at the end of the video. But basically, this, I forget what this is called, Eloquist or something like that. They only have a couple of exchanges that they use, and the only one that we can use is EggX. I don't know. These guys. These are the only ones that both they use and have listed us. The downside is right now that the current wallet for them is offline with their problem that they had, correct me if I'm wrong, 6-8 months ago, where they had to go offline and basically kind of start over from scratch. Some of the lesser tokens, Bitoreum included, their wallet never got turned back on. I don't want to show the page that actually has the chat with them. I have been talking with them. They're a bit hesitant to trust me, although we do have links to kind of prove what I'm doing. But obviously they were used to dealing with Marius, and you know that's just going to take time. But like I said, that's more about that at the end of the video. But because of that, things like the price and the market cap may not work, even though that we're using CoinGecko, which you can see here, like that works, and it brings us back into the Bitoreum here, but I just can't get it to feed data into the exchange, or not the exchange, the Explorer. But that has just been a growing frustration for me. I don't deal with this kind of shit. I am a software developer. I am not a front-end or a back-end developer for website stuff. I gave that up in college, and I typically offload that. But right now, I just don't have anybody to help me with it. There is one guy who is going to start his own Explorer, so we will have a second Explorer to this one. And depending on if he can get his working better than I can get mine working, His will probably be the primary Explorer, and then we'll use this one as a secondary. It's just we need an Explorer up and operational to stay listed on various exchanges. Trade Ogre, I've also reached out to them for the time being because I don't have the money to fund a liquidity pool. Basically, I think Trade Ogre, the trade pair is Bitoreum to Litecoin. Yeah, LTC Litecoin. I will probably go ahead and start purchasing some Bitcoin there, and then running promotions about giving away collateral to start your own Smartnode, but that's going to run in compendium to the video about creating a Smartnode. So obviously that's going to come in weeks prior, but really I want some kind of movement so we don't get delisted. That's the real motivation behind it. I don't really even care if I lose money on some of those trades, which I probably will. The reality is right now it's easier to mine than to trade, but in order to avoid delisting, Trade Ogre is pretty big. Aggregate, I don't know how you say that. These guys, they're also pretty big, and they're definitely becoming popular and a favorite again. And to relist with them, I think is going to cost about $5,000. I think is what they want for their liquidity pool, because they have their own token. I think it's this XPE. And basically what they want is for you to hold that value in your wallet while they go through the process and application style, and then you can use that $4,000 to $5,000, I think it's 5,000, to buy other assets, and that becomes your liquidity pool to trade against. Because I think right now the only things you can trade against here, if the wallet was on, was Bitcoin, which is a horrible exchange rate, and USDT, which is very common. I was actually a little bit surprised that Trade Ogre doesn't have USDT, but to each their own. I'm not going to complain. We're still listed there. We're good. But I think those are the only two here, and I think we can look at that even without logging in, which I don't want to do. Bitoreum. Okay, yeah, so this right now is just USDT, and in order to add more, and the reason why there's no data, which is why this doesn't work, is because the wallet is offline. Now, I've reached out to them. I've created a ticket. They haven't resolved the ticket, but they have been talking to me about that, and I do want to get a little bit higher up than the person I'm talking now. But basically, from what it sounds like, we're going to have version 4 actually ready to go on GitHub, which is probably going to be stalled a little bit more. I know I said I was aiming for the 15th, which is basically next week, but it might actually have to be the 22nd, because there were two big things that happened this week that ate up just so much of my time. First and foremost is this thing, hence why the middle is the Explorer and how I learned to hate the bomb, because I really, really hate this Explorer. Making certain changes to it, basically you have to re-index everything, or in some cases destroy the MongoDB and rebuild it from scratch, which both take a significant amount of time and resources and energy and patience, and there's not enough weed, alcohol, and anything that can calm my blood pressure down to make me deal with that. So for the time being, this should be finished syncing by the end of the day, because like I said, where were we at? That's not good. That looks like it may have stalled. Interesting. We'll get back to that later. I really hope that didn't stall, because that stalling... See, this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. The Explorer wallet that it's linked to, perfectly synced. Had no issues with that. We synced from Genesis block to all the way where we are now. No problems. But the Explorer has to read that and then index it in its own internal database, and that takes forever needlessly. I hate the Explorer. I hate the concept of it, but I know why we have to have it, mostly because these guys pretty much require it. And what's really going to sell it for us is getting these guys back to supporting us, because then we can backload it into our Explorer and pull data for the price, the market cap, coin supply, although I think this comes from CoinGecko, which also is currently still listing us, which is amazing. But if we didn't act fast we're going to lose it. And that's kind of where we are. Now that leads into kind of the downside. The biggest downside right now is obviously between my doctor's appointments this last week and this Explorer eating up so much of my time, I haven't really had much time to work on the actual application. It's pretty much still at the same point that we were at when I made my last week's announcement. There have been some other changes, obviously. In one of my versions, I've added in the new logos in the application. I still haven't replaced certain things. Yeah, I can't load them, but like the Bitoreum. Oh, I think I have it on this one. Yeah, we can load it up here. Yeah, so this has been swapped out, this logo. The Bitoreum.org is also referenced to Bitoreum.cc. So that was changed in the splash logo, although this doesn't really do much of anything. Oh, great. Now the application. Awesome. So it probably won't load because, you know, we do these things live and then they just don't work. But anyway, this logo is what is changed, and it is changed both here and in the application. And just because that isn't going to load, I'm fine. It's whatever. So that's the state of the application, and like I said, to kind of finalize all of this up, the outreach, I have reached out to these guys, I have reached out to how do you spell them? I think that's correct. Yeah. Yep. And they are still listing us, and you can look that up here without logging in. Although, like I said, this one's a little bit weird. This one uses Litecoin to trade against, which I'm not mad about because I really hate the transaction fees on USDT. Not gonna lie, like I understand why a lot of people use it, but the transaction fees are brutal, and normally they amount to like $2 per transaction. Another one of the ones that used to work with us. Right? I do not recommend these guys, by the way, whatsoever. They are ungodly expensive for transaction fees. Okay, it looks like they might not even... I don't know. I don't see them listed. Oops, sorry. I don't see them listed here, and I don't see them listed here. We used to be listed with them, but if they don't list us, I don't really care. The transaction fees on these guys were insane. I think it was $20 to withdraw any USDT funds. So it wasn't too bad if you were, say, dumping USDT into the exchange and converting all of your USDT to some other currency like Bitoreum or Yerbis or what was the other one? Raptorium, I think is what I used to exchange for. Because if you got those coins in return, the transaction fees were negligible. But for withdrawing like USDT or Tron or any of these, it used to be like $20 to withdraw, which is just insane. So I still don't recommend using these guys. If they have us, great. If they don't, I don't care. They weren't the greatest. I do want to maintain and establish connections with other exchanges, but it sounds like at this point in time, we're going to run up into a money issue where you have to put money into the liquidity pool in order for them to be listed, which is always a thing for coins. Now, because we're on Trade Ogre, and we're just going to call this XEgg, right? Because eggs are so damn expensive right now, at least here in America, that, you know, XEgg, that's what you're being called it right now, because that's what you look like. I like you guys, I really do. I've used you guys a lot for trading Yerbis and Raptorium. And in the past, when this was a much more active project, to some lesser extent, Bitoreum, when I needed to make the last little bit for collateral nodes, things like that. I used to use them for that. I don't use them so much anymore because the reality is I either mine or I code. I don't really do much trading. So that is the outreach that I've done, and there are some caveats with that. For one, a lot of them want Twitter, and I am lifetime banned from Twitter. And all I said was, if Mitch McConnell wanted to go back to making America great again, I would be remiss in reminding him that he has screwed his state over so badly that maybe the only outcome for him would be to tar and feather. Now, they took that as I was threatening with tarring and feathering with somebody, which is not a thing, and basically lifetime ban, and I've appealed, and Musk's new crew said, no, absolutely the hell not. And a lot of these exchanges want a Twitter account, which I can't have, and to be honest, based on what's on there, I don't want one. All right, we're on Blue Sky, we're on Discord. I probably could recapture the Bitoreum Reddit, but I don't really care about what goes on over there. We got the Discord, we got the YouTube channel, we got the Blue Sky. We're good there. If they want anything more, no. I'm just going to say that right now. We can post more updates on Blue Sky to make it more accessible to the general crowd and community if that's what they want. I can go back to making posts on the Bitoreum subreddit, which isn't really controlled by anybody anymore. But as for signing up for Twitter or even trying to deal with Twitter, no. That has just become an alt-right haven of just ridiculousness. And in the same way, so has Threads kind of been pushed that way. But I'm not going to get into that. Basically, that's where we're at. We are officially on Discord. We are officially on Blue Sky. We officially have this YouTube channel. That is where we intend to stay. Let's see if we've gone any further. I don't think we have. I think we're kind of stuck, on that block. I'm going to have to look at that after this video is ended. And, you can find this stuff on both the white paper and the Smartnode setup guide on the very last page. Well, not in the very last page of the PDF is always the table of contents for some weird reason. But you can find our contact information here, website, the Explorer, our GitHub, our Discord, our Blue Sky, and then the YouTube channel. Yeah, that's my personal Blue Sky, but I also do post pretty much almost exclusively about what I'm doing. I don't know why I didn't move the link down here when it's up here. That's just on me. The mining pools are accurate. Recommended exchanges, these are the two ones. TradeOgre has to be above XEgg right now because they're currently offline at the time of this writing. But we are working with them to restore it, and in the future they may actually even accept our wallet as long as we have it on GitHub as an official release. And like I said, we're still targeting the 15th of June, but it's more likely going to be the 22nd. My aggregation system, IoVa Systems, is up and operational, and I do support Bitoreum. And let's see here. You got these coins. Eventually, this has been rewritten, but this code, they're in a transitional phase, so I can't really update this application for another month or two, or longer, depending on how much they screw me over. But this application works, and I think this is the only one that may or may not work, is the Yearbus. Yeah. Nope, it does work. I take it back. That in the past has traditionally not worked. Let's see if this one. That's the general cost right now to run a Smartnode. 1.8 million or 1,800,000, depending on however you want to say it. Rough value in USD, and this is accurate, is about $1.60 USD. Do with that what you will. It looks like Litecoin is going to be your best bet because TradeOgre looks like there are a ton of, I think this was, look at that supply. That's 53 million tokens. Like that's insane. I think somebody bought a bunch of it at a Much lower. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's an even lower rate here. There's 153 million and some change tokens there at a much, 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 much lower rate. So do with that what you will. Right? You can definitely buy. That's about $100 worth in both ways. I think if you go, there's that, and we can take that, and we can go copy. We can go here, and we can switch that over to Litecoin, because that is one of the ones here. Right, so that's roughly the exchange rate right now. So you might actually wind up losing some money in that, but you're losing about a penny overall. So I'm going to leave this open for the question and answer section. I do have to mute it. Go ahead and leave me any questions in the chat, and I'll get right back to you in like 5 seconds. Someone's knocking on my door. All right, we're back. And it looks like I had 2 questions on Discord. One, these are kind of recaps to questions that have been asked because we have been getting not necessarily new people in our Discord, just people from the old Discord transferred over to the new one, which is awesome because, like I said, I can't moderate and I really don't want to 2 Bitoreum channels. One of them, once again, no, this isn't a new code base. All the tokens on the network will still be valid. Basically, this is more of a fixing the application process and a continuation on the Bitoreum. This is not even a real fork in the traditional sense. I mean, at one point we will have to fork the spork and the development fee so that way we can retain control over those. And then that way the development fee can actually go towards paying developers to help me with this, because right now it's people just donating their time, which I am super appreciative of. Like, thank you guys so very much. Hey, look, the application actually started. I don't even remember what I wanted to show in this. Yeah, can't remember. Sucks to be me. But yeah, so that's the first question. This isn't really a fork in the traditional sense. This is just Marius left the application in a state of pretty bad shape, and it's really old, and it needed to be rewritten for Ubuntu 22 minimum, or really what I did was wrote it in compliance with Ubuntu 24.04. And the reason is that way I don't have to rewrite it again anytime soon, because 20 is being deprecated, 22 is still valid in GitHub, so it'll be a while before we'll have to upgrade it to work with the new OS. It is now part of the time where we get us a nice glass of Hibiki Japanese whiskey. It's like scotch and bourbon all in one. It's amazing. About $100 American a bottle where you can get it. It's worth every penny. All right, and the second question was, sorry, let me look here. It got buried because I was bullshitting. Oh, right. So, this goes back to something I had said in a prior video. Right? So, when you're looking at the, you can go back here. If you just go to GitHub/Nicovosh, you're going to see Bitoreum and Bitoreum Explorer. You can ignore this largely here. That was just for me. And when you are in Bitoreum, it's going to take you to the main branch. I have not done anything in main except maybe updated like 2 files that just, I don't know, were not, at some point this needs to be dealt with, but today we're not dealing with main. Any changes to the application, or if you want to make your own software, have to be done from the branch 4.0.0.0. This is the one that works. This is the one that's been patched. You do not need a fallback to build either in the depends. Main update 4.0 to new dependencies, a proper fork, things like that. I've made these available. So this is the one that actually works and has been updated. So you can actually make software from here. As you can see here, we currently do not have a release. There are no packages published. We will be publishing a Bootstrap. We will be publishing one for both the regular wallets / Smartnodes, and then one for the Explorer for anybody who wants to build their own Explorer. Because like I said, I've been having such a hell of a time that basically this is the end. This is the last time I will be doing anything with the Explorer. I hate it so much. The amount of frustration I have with this Explorer knows no bounds. It does not. I hate it. I hate it so very much. So if you want to have your own, we'll have a Bootstrap for the Explorer, because you do have to have some special functioning there to make yours work properly. You do have to have your comp file. Let's see if we can actually load that. Open the wallet configuration file through a regular notepad. Yeah. So, this, anything that's commented out doesn't actually work, and this is completely unneeded. This isn't even how Windows really deals with this. But the more important things there are for this. This is the stuff that you need under the basic settings. Right? So this is what you need to make your Explorer wallet sync from Genesis. And then the added bonus here is down in preferred nodes. We have this section which will add this to aid with syncing faster, because right now if you're using version 3 you're not going to sync with the network correctly, because a lot of those seed nodes are just offline. I've corrected some of them and we have that going for us. Also, next week I will be going over what's broken about the application again on the end of our video. So definitely look out for that, and hopefully by next week we'll have more progress on the application, because like I said, I'm done messing with this stupid Explorer. I hate it so much. We got the logos in there, we got the naming conventions right. It is syncing. I've seen that it is going up. Who is this years ago? Oh, I recognize that transaction. Anyway, so yeah, that's where everything is. I see no more questions in the YouTube chat or in the Discord. I'm gonna give it another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Questions are now closed, and I'm just gonna close with a line from memes, which is kind of all what I'm all about. With a gun barrel between your mouth, you speak only in vowels. Name the movie. Go ahead and drop that in the comments if you ever come across this video. I will see you all next week with much better updates, but once again, the big one, those images, they look gorgeous. I mean, they really do. And where's the other one? Yeah, we'll just launch the EPUB. And then we'll go pre-install. Nope. Yeah, there it is. Buddy, that is a sexy logo, and I really got to give Tika credit for that. That's one of my favorite things. That's the big announcement this week. Tika, you the man. Obviously, we'll be definitely giving you a lot more credit, and you have definitely earned yourself to promote your portfolio if you'd like. Like I said, I've officially named the logo the Charlie Murphy. I'll be naming some of the other things too. The bee that you gave me, which was really from one of these logos. Amazing. Love it. Let me get 20 more of them. Not really. Like you've done good work. I don't need any more like that. That's amazing right there. And then of course we got this one, which is where I got that from, right? That came from that, and I think that will be our new call letter instead of the other kind of convoluted, flat-looking eagle-based one. I think I like this shape a lot better. You have done amazing work. Good job. Thank you very much, and I will see you all next week. Have a good day. It's hot. It's 100 degrees here, regardless of what my temperature says in the corner. Hot. Have a good night.